Hello, party people. I'm in a bit of a bad mood, and I'm a bit late because, I'm a bit behind because I had to spend quite a while shoveling today. What had happened was it had snowed last night, and then we'd had freezing rain on top of that, and then regular rain on top of that, and then it was warm-ish. It was like +1, +2 outside. So, yeah, I definitely don't need to get on my rowing machine today. I realized this morning that it had been a few days since I'd been on my rowing machine, and uh, I've been burning so many calories shoveling snow. I really don't need to get on the rowing machine to make up a caloric deficit. Um, yeah. And I very badly need a shower, so I do apologize for my appearance, but tis what tis. And, I'd rather be reliable than, you know, prim and proper sometimes. I think you guys know very well that I don't do prim and proper too well. Okay, let's get into the stories here. We'll start with, as we usually do, Sic Semper Tyrannis. Or, sorry, Sic Semper Mentalis. Thus always to dickheads. Today's first dickhead. Yeah. We'll pause this here. So, this
Pew
happened.
pew!
Oh,
Humble pew pew!
what the
Humble,
fuck is
Texas.
going
Can we
on
get a
here?
come on down, please? All right, so Hood News Peep is
Okay,
working,
so I'm
and
trying to pause this. There we go. Thank you. Shut up, Hood News Peep. So, from Kevin Sorbo, this happened in Texas. If it were California, the shop owner would be arrested and the perp would receive millions in restitution. Most likely. And we'll let Hood News Peep speak for a little while now.
pew pew! Humble, Texas. Can we get a come on down, please? All right, so Hood News Peep is working, and a customer just left, and some crash dummies are about to attempt to rob the store. Just wait for it. You're gonna love this.
Nice. Light them right up.
If you fuck around, you're gonna find out in the great state of Texas.
Why people try this shit in Texas is beyond me. I mean, of all the 50 states, nobody talks about how Texas people are strapped more, or talks about how people in a particular state are strapped more than they talk about it in Texas. But there's a reason Texas is number 2 on my list behind Tennessee. Yeah. Let's have a look at some of the. Can't be happy about this. You can't. I can. Guns. It's not the answer for every situation, but I'd rather have one and not need it than need one and not have it. I hear ya. Around he fucked. Fine. Sorry. Around he fucked. I used to be able to do Yoda. What the hell? Judge me by myself. I can't do Yoda anymore. Around he fucked. Found out he did. Yep. That's called FAFO. Stay strapped or get clapped. What's this say? Said poo. Oh dear. Unconditional love does not mean unconditional acceptance of bad behavior. It also doesn't mean unconditional surrender. Yeah. You're in my house. My gun tells me not for long. Adios, motherfucker. Yep. That had to sting a little bit, I would imagine. You should stick to movies. California has excellent self-defense laws. Oh, really? How do self-defense laws in Texas and California differ? Simplified answer. Let's see about this. Yeah. That's for Evil Pat. Evil Pat, if you're watching. Yeah. Texas and California have significantly different self-defense laws. Texas is a stand-your-ground state with a strong castle doctrine. That means if someone comes into your house, you are not required to flee instead of fighting. You do not have to retreat. California generally requires a duty to retreat. That's not better. Fuck off, Pat. Right there, you're already blown out of the water. In short, Texas allows you to stand your ground anywhere you're lawfully present. California often requires you to retreat first. Yeah, fuck California. So from Retards Down Under, who I will follow, it brings me great joy seeing the retards in the media be put in their place. I'm not sure who this fellow is, but this is an entertaining exchange. Also, watch the blonde just nodding along with him.
The taxpayer has to constantly fund Victoria Police taking me to the courts for just more nonsense, offensive behaviour charges.
Is it nonsense though? Because the taxpayer wasn't happy with what they saw at that rally.
Well, you don't speak for the taxpayer. You're part of a corporate entity that is anti-Australia. So you don't actually speak for the Australian people. You're a nefarious agent of the mainstream media. So I think...
A nefarious agent of the mainstream media. Fucking based answer.
You'll find the average Australian does not want thousands or millions of
Helly Hansen shirt. Nice.
illegal Indian immigrants staying in the country. And that's what we were protesting against. There were thousands of self-entitled, despicable people that think it's their right to be a part of our nation. And they were protesting outside Tony Burke's office, who, might I add, deported healthy, wholesome white families from this country. Shut up, you fat dork. Look at film.
Her response to him yelling, "Shut up, you fat dork," is absolutely perfect.
This fucking loser. Look at these freaks. You're a fat, disgusting dork. Shut the fuck up. Anyway, Tony Burke. No,
Every
listen.
time you're out here, there's drama.
There is always drama, but it's not seeking attention to me. It's seeking attention to the issue. And the primary issue in Australia and the whole Western world is white replacement. That is the primary issue. That is what...
She acts like she's tired of hearing about it. Maybe instead of being bored by the conversation, you should try engaging with the actual topic.
That's the only thing we actually...
Her only purpose to be there is to record what he's saying. She really has no interest in the actual story or the meat of it. Yeah. A story that affects her directly. She just doesn't care. Doesn't get her panties wet.
want to talk about. And you're looking at your phone, you're looking at it...
Yep. Call her right out, dude. Proper fucking thing.
Change the subject because
I don't want to change the subject.
media do not want to talk about this subject. They don't want to talk about white replacement. We want to reverse the process. We don't want Australia turning into a third world country. We don't want it turning into India. We don't want it turning into Sudan. We want it to remain Australian. That is the primary issue. And you always want to change the subject and attack the man. You don't want to play the fucking important game. You want to attack the man. You don't want to attack the idea. You don't want to touch on white replacement. You want to touch on my personal behaviour.
Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty?
Thank you, done.
Oh yeah, fuck
Yeah.
you. Fuck you. You're scum. They don't want to talk about the big issues. What they want to talk about is, are you guilty or are you not guilty for this minutia that doesn't matter? We protested foreign immigrants that are demanding that they stay in the country. And we protested that.
She's recording so that she can get a good soundbite for her own TikTok or Instagram, whatever.
We said you shut the fuck up. We said that was self-entitled, that it was disrespectful, that it was anti-Australian.
Now, why do I think it's okay for him to yell, "You shut the fuck up" at that guy? Because he was interrupting him. That's rude. It's unmannerly. It's uncouth. And good men should have standards.
And we said an ancient Australian proverb, fuck the tax.
I suspect this is Thomas Sewell, actually, now that I've heard him speak. Oh, it is. Okay. From Rational Posts. That face, I wish she was being introspective and understanding Thomas is correct. She's more likely thinking, I have to get a quote from this vile man so I can get back to trying to get promoted in a company that has told me I have the wrong skin color. She doesn't think that way. I guarantee you she does not think that way. The way she thinks is, I'm trying to get promoted, period. She has not been... Even if she has been told she has the wrong skin color, she's thinking, no, it's fine because I'm a white woman, I'm privileged, and I'm in a position where I should be stepping aside to let some poor brown person who obviously can't do the job to the level that I can have my position that I've rightly earned. That's how she thinks. It's the soft bigotry of low expectations. Full story is here. That's from The Noticer. June Marie, white replacement is happening in every Western country, not just Australia. It is an invasion without fire. Excuse me, it's an invasion without firing a shot. Yeah. Most based clip of the year. I'd like to buy this guy a beer. I don't know why you bothered to drop this one in there. I mean, you're not wrong. Jews aren't white, but why drop it there? It's an irrelevancy. Can anyone provide a single issue with any editorial distinction between ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS, NPR, CNN, and New York Times, LA Times, Washington Post, The Nation, Teen Vogue? Actually, I can when it comes to the New York Times. Just a second here. This story. And we're not going to actually read it because, well, it won't let me because of that pop-up, for one. But for another, yeah. A focus on pedophilia. First, protect the children. That's not the story I was looking for. The story I was looking for, the headline read, let me pause this. The headline read, let's see if I can take this verbatim from memory. Pedophilia, a disorder, not a crime. Yeah. Can't be both. Right? I mean, obviously, if you're a pedophile, you have something not quite right in your head, at the very least. And you are committing crimes if you're engaging in it. But yeah, let's pretend it's not a criminal act to have sex with a child. Yeah, let's do that. I mean, what possible benefit could that be to a group of, the immigrants? Yeah. Okay, I think this is the last, yes. Yeah, okay. Okay, so, this is the last story. From the disrespected trucker, this is exactly the kind of mayor that every city deserves. Yeah, I would absolutely vote for this guy if he was
After this mayor found out about the very inappropriate books given to kids, he came to the school board meeting and made sure to set things straight.
Members of the board, my name is Craig Schubert. I'm the mayor of this city.
Schubert.
It has come to my attention that your educators are distributing essentially what is child pornography in the classroom. I've spoken to a judge this evening. She's already confirmed that. So I'm going to give you a simple choice. Either choose to resign from this Board of Education or you will be charged. Thank you.
Yeah. Fucking suck on it. What do we got here? From Victorian Traveler. I believe I know this person. Yes, I do. Hi, Vic. Just charge them. Don't give them an out. What the hell kind of world am I living in where this is the most muscular response? It's a fair point. Yeah, he should have rolled in with cops and just arrested those people on the spot. Assuming he could. I suspect the issue was something along the lines of his city attorney told him, well, if you charge them now, you're facing a lawsuit, and you may not be able to make it stick. So, yeah, this is the compromise position. Get them out. Silliness here, flip side to the good mayor. He resigned after this. Charlie is a Wisconsin treasure. Be safe. Okay. Keep going, white boy. Franklin. I think I know Franklin as well. Nope, not certain. Ross Hardy says it's as simple as that. The mayor says to the school board, resign. He didn't say immediately, or you will be charged. That's how it's done. When will we see more Davy Crockett's in charge and less Jasmine Crockett's? Yeah. We're going to burn your books again. Yep. Yeah, one of the questions you're not supposed to ask is, what books were they burning? Craig Schubert, the former mayor of Hudson, Ohio, did indeed make headlines in September 2021 for confronting the local school board. This is 5 years ago. Over a high school writing class book. During a public meeting on September 13th, Schubert accused the board of allowing, essentially child pornography in classrooms, referring to a supplemental book titled 642 Things to Write About, provided to seniors in a college-level liberal arts 2 course. The book included creative writing prompts, some of which involved sexual themes, such as write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom, or write a sex scene you wouldn't show your mom. It's a strange thing to offer high schoolers. I'm assuming high schoolers. Or describe a time when you wanted to orgasm but couldn't. What the fuck? He claimed to have consulted a judge and gave the board an ultimatum. Resign or face criminal charges. The incident drew national attention and backlash. Sorry about that. with hundreds of community members showing support for the school board at subsequent meetings, while others echoed Schubert's concerns. The school had already pulled the book after parental complaints, and the high school principal, a teacher, and others resigned or were placed on leave amid the uproar. An investigation by the Summit County Prosecutor's Office followed. In November 2021, Prosecutor Sherry Bevan Walsh concluded that the book's prompts did not constitute child pornography or violate any laws, describing Schubert's claims as baseless. However, she noted that his statements aided, abetted, and incited hundreds of violent threats. Jesus Christ. Schubert stood by his accusations initially, but resigned in February 2022 after an unrelated controversy, where he suggested during a city council meeting that allowing ice fishing shanties on a local lake could lead to prostitution. You know, it's a fair concern. This event fits into broader cultural debates over school curricula and book content, which is why the story continues to circulate online in discussions about education, censorship, and politics. I'm sorry, but that ice shanty thing, it's got my attention now and I can't help it. If you see a line of guys with... I'm done. Yeah, I actually agree. I think he should have charged them immediately, if he could have. Now, this is going to be the last of our dickhead segments. Jamie Foxx is the dickhead of the hour. Jamie Foxx has called John Davidson, this is from James Harvey, who I will follow. Jamie Foxx has called John Davidson, a Tourette's sufferer and campaigner, who the film I Swear is based on, a racist. Yeah. I covered this story briefly yesterday as well, after he uncontrollably shouted out the N-word during the BAFTA award ceremony. Now, people are apologizing on behalf of John. It's an uncontrollable tick. John has no control over it. Fuck off with this woke bullshit. Okay. John himself, if he chose to, could apologize. Wouldn't need to because, again, uncontrollable tick. Neurological disorder. Okay? So there's that. That's Tourette's. It is uncontrollable. I need to remember to tag Jamie Foxx when I respond to this later. Hi, Jamie. Also, if you know Jamie Foxx, by all means, do send him this, because I'd like him to hear this. Ricky Gervais was right. You spend less time in school than Greta Thunberg. You have no position from which to lecture the public about right and wrong. You will literally sell your soul for a paycheck. Why would anyone take you seriously? And just to add a little bit of salt to that wound, let's have a look at the trailer for I Swear. Now, normally, if I want to cover a trailer, I do it on Fandom Friday. Today, it's much more relevant. Also, not really a documentary fan myself. I like some documentaries, and I've seen parts of this already, so yeah, we'll spend the 2 minutes looking at this. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike for it, as it is fair use.
Morning, John. Late again.
Traffic was terrible.
Sorry, I just realized I didn't full screen that for you guys. There we go.
John, I need to take you shopping after football. We're starting big school in 2 weeks.
Ladies? I dream of a lady in body. A tale that she...
Get lost! Look at him!
Fucking rabbit shit! Hey! Fucking shite! Can't help it! It was a shame today!
We're going to get you better. Next to no time.
Johnny D!
It's called Tourette syndrome. Say things that I shouldn't.
What can you do? Do you want to come in for something to eat, John? Oh, fuck off, you wanker!
Well, it's nice to meet you too.
Sorry.
If you do anything here that you can't help, you never apologise.
Tommy, this is John. He's come to have a chat about the vacant position.
Right, I'll give you a rundown of the place.
Give me a cock in my hand. For fuck's sakes.
Can you make a decent cup of tea?
Oh, I am good at tea. Are you spunk for milk? Are you okay with the ticks?
Okay, they're using it. They're throwing in the most hilarious side of Tourette's. And I'm sorry, I'm going to laugh when something strikes me funny. And I have friends who have Tourette's. Some of them are some of the best people I've ever met. One actually kept me from being homeless at one point. Hi, Sean. But the tick is like laughter, kind of involuntary. So, yeah, I'll probably laugh at a few things of this. And I think I kind of want to watch this movie now. So, do you want to write that down too? And again, if you have Tourette's and you have friends who judge you for it, you don't have friends. I'm very, very clear with my friends that have Tourette's. If they have a tick around me, I don't care. If I laugh about it, let it go. It's just funny. One of my friends who has Tourette's, when he's very nervous or anxious, he will, the tics for him are more physical. They kind of manifest as sudden movements in his upper spine. And the occasional almost dog whining sort of sounds as well sometimes. And the first time I noticed it, I think what had happened was we were hanging out together, just me and him. And we just randomly met on the street, and I'd gotten the impression he probably had Tourette's from the first time I met him through one of my exes. And didn't really care. It didn't come up in conversation. He was fairly relaxed. It was kind of a bit of a party that we were at, so it was fine. In sober daylight, he was a little more anxious about it, and when it happened, it kind of triggered an anxiety, and it started to become more pronounced. After a few, probably less than a minute or so, I realized what was going on, kind of let it roll through my head, and it's like, oh, hey. And I looked at him and I said, listen, I know you have Tourette's. I don't care. You can relax around me. Whatever tics happen, happen. And because he knew that I was going to be completely non-judgmental about it, it actually eased the symptoms a little bit. So I'm very happy that that happened. It's a sign of trust, obviously. But to judge somebody for having this disorder, regardless of what they shout, and I'm sorry, but if you use fucking spunk for milk, that's funny. But to judge somebody, regardless of what they're shouting, and in some cases it will be the most socially inappropriate thing, whether that's something that is, and I don't know 100% about Tourette's, part of the reason I actually want to watch this movie now, but if it is that the disorder causes you to shout the thing that you know is the most socially egregious thing at the time, for example, John Davidson shouting nigger at two black men on stage, yeah, I completely understand where that came from, and I don't see any reason he should be made to apologize. It's fine to have the BAFTAs apologize. They need to be concerned about Ofcom in the UK taking away their license or hitting them with a fine or whatever. But even Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan were on stage at the time. They both kind of froze, and then they let it slide past. If it had been me, I think my sense of humor is slightly different. I'm far less sensitive, far more thick-skinned, having grown up in the 80s. I think my response would have been more along the lines of, "Hi, John," and that would have been it. Just make a laugh about it, let it go. But these people have no sense of humor, and far less compassion than they pretend to have.
Swearing.
What tics? What smell?
We need to get you out, man.
I can see he's off the medication.
I'm so sorry, pal.
I'm so tired. I don't think Tourette's is the problem. People not knowing about Tourette's is the problem.
Hey!
Educate them.
You always said I should help people like me. I have Tourette's syndrome, and it makes me tick.
Fuck you!
That young man over there would not harm a fly, and he makes a damn fine cup of tea.
Spunk for milk.
Spunk. For milk.
Okay, so that's dramatized a little bit. What I had seen, I guess, was actually scenes from John's life itself, not the dramatized stuff from this. And, yeah, I may watch this film more for the laughs than anything else. And, you know, call me an insensitive prick because I'm laughing at somebody with Tourette's. But at least I'm not condemning them for being a racist. Assholes. Let's see. Oh dear. From one terrible situation to quite another. From Queen Bee, King Bob the Third. I do like that. Every time the horrors of the evil of the grooming gangs comes up, this evil Jezebel hits the headlines every single fucking time. I'm absolutely convinced she's paid for by the government to normalize the mass rape of British girls and make it look like they like it. Every single fucking time. And this is through We Got It Back. No, not far left at all. On the Jeremy Kyle show today, Bonnie Blue is pregnant. That baby will be bungee jumping by the third trimester, I guarantee it. And doesn't know who the father is. It could be any of the 12,736 men she slept with. No, guys, you can't fix her. There's no fixing this one. Let's just see what she's saying about these girls now.
I'm pregnant. I have been dying to tell you because this account, I know it's not got a massive following, but honestly it means a lot to me. I love looking at the comments and I love seeing. I don't know, I just love sharing stuff with...
Okay, fuck you. She's not actually talking about the grooming gangs here. But, yeah. Does anybody give a shit that she's pregnant and has no idea who of the 12,000 plus men she slept with it might be as the father? I don't. But from one terrible example of womanhood to a far finer one. Also, I'm partly including this because, dear God, that accent turns me on.
Do you know what annoys me lately? Is all this boss bitch, bad girl energy vibes. Hold on now for a second, missus. Don't be getting your knickers in a twist. They make out that men and women are the same and we have the potential to do the same and reach the same heights as men. No, we don't. We are equal, but we're not the same. We need more fat than men. We need more sleep than men. We're not stress resilient as men. We have a 28-day cycle, while men have a 24-hour cycle. Lucky bastards. You sleep in a house that was built by a man. You drive in a car on a road that was built by men. Society would not be able to function without men. Rather than seeing each other as competition, we complement each other, and that's what makes the relationship between the two so beautiful. So the next time you look down on men as if they're shit on your shoe, remember all the hard work your father or your grandfather or great-grandfather has gone through. And don't be so disrespectful.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take the next ones in just in order as I have them. So from... Oh, I need to back that one up. From Red Hawk, we have... Oh, okay. Whites are the only group who care about the environment. And this comes through Dwight Singh Shroot. Humber River, Ontario. Another video has been found, this time of the Hindu community dumping dozens of idols into the Humber River. One of Canada's largest rivers, the salmon in this lake will become extinct if this practice is stopped. Right? They're just throwing garbage in the water, as far as I'm concerned. No, I don't care that they're holy relics or any of this shit. It's garbage, and they're polluting the river. Take your foreign god back to your foreign country. And I pointed out that this is further proof that the Western form of Christianity is no longer a Middle Eastern religion. Whites have taken on the responsible stewardship role God commanded of them far better than any other people on earth. Every day I stray closer and closer to God. Still an atheist, sort of. It's complicated. From PWA, and I can't take more than 2 walleyes fishing in Ontario. Retard country, absolutely. That doesn't mean you should be able to take more fish, it means they should be stopped. From Sealy Deutschlands. The entire communist psyop was designed to weaponize white strengths against ourselves. I don't know how that's relevant. Conservationism was right-coded at one point. It could be again. Conservationism has always been white-coded. Or, sorry, right-coded. What we're seeing here, and in modern era, is a form of environmental worship, where the same people who think that putting up a holy windmill will somehow not destroy the environment that they're putting it on. Let's see. From Bering, who is a great follow and very entertaining. He says, I generally lean towards facial recognition software being a bit dystopian in most applications, but credit where credit's due. And I believe I did respond. Yeah, right there with you. Generally, I don't trust AI, and a lot of the time confirm things that I don't quite believe when it tells me them. In this case, I think it's actually calling a spade a spade. So from a man of memes, a trans woman has announced plans to sue a major tech company claiming its AI facial recognition software repeatedly misclassifies her as male. She described the experience as transphobic and emotionally distressing, arguing that the system fails to recognize her gender identity despite repeated corrections. You can't fight biology. You can try and fool it for a while, but you can't fight it. The incident has fueled discussions about bias in AI, ethical tech design, and the importance of training algorithms on diverse data sets to prevent misclassification and exclusion of marginalized groups. No official statement has been issued by the tech firm, and the claims remain unverified. Transphobic technology trans woman says she will sue tech firm after AI facial recognition software consistently identifies her as male. Good Lord, says Sassafras, yep. A man who mutilates his body so it resembles a woman's body is not a woman. He is just a man who mutilated his body so it would resemble a woman's body. Yep. When people call you mentally ill so you cut your dick off to prove them wrong. Fuck, that's a good one. Okay. Hi, I'd like a wake-up call. More people have been shot by trans women than by ICE agents in 2026. You misgendered me. You have misgendered yourself. The person in the photo is male. He has a fairly typical adult male appearance. Longer hair, common among many men, especially in certain subcultures or styles. Visible facial hair stubble. Male jawline and brow ridge structure. And overall facial proportions that align with male rather than female. Yeah, put me in a wig. Do I become a woman? No. I become an ugly caricature of a woman. And I mean fucking ugly. I'd be the ugliest fucking woman. Jesus. 1975. So you pretend to be a woman, like, all the time? Why? That's just stupid, man. Yeah. Transgender folks want to be accepted for who they are, but they weren't able to accept themselves for who they were. If you haven't been watching Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I believe the first season has clued up now. Actually, really good show. The fight choreography could be a bit improved. So today in Absolute BS from government polling via Toronto Morning, we have nearly 80% of Canadians oppose the idea of Alberta leaving the nation. Says polling. Polling by who? Oh, it's CBC. Yeah. Doubtful. More BS government polling. Well, yeah, they want all the equalization payments while at the same time calling Albertans this. Dehumanizing slant. Yeah. What do we got here? More bullshit. This is just going to be a pile of bullshit today. The next story is going to be really good, though. So from LaZB, breaking, the Israel lobby and Jewish organizations have pushed the Ohio government to remove Americans' First Amendment and make it illegal to criticize Israel or Jews. Ohio is proposing 20 years in prison and fines of up to $1 million for Americans who boycott or speak out against the Jews. So you can't even have a geopolitical opinion that Israeli products are not something you want to buy. Yeah. SB 87 expands Ohio's ethnic intimidation statute by enhancing criminal penalties based on perceived motive. So the judge gets to tell you whether or not you had a particular motive. Sound familiar, Dank? Sounds a lot like the Count Dankula case. based on perceived motive tied to race, religion, or national origin, including in contexts involving peaceful protest, political expression, and assembly. SB 87 would also codify the overbroad and widely criticized International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism into Ohio law. What is their definition of... we'll do a quick search here. Let's see what their definition is. The IRHA definition of anti-Semitism is the, quote, non-legally binding working definition of anti-Semitism that was adopted... Oh, for fuck's sakes. Yeah, but what is it? There. Okay. The working definition was developed. Been described as an example of, but what is it? Okay, let's try actually asking an AI that I can somewhat trust. How does the IHRA define anti-Semitism? And we'll bring this link over for you guys so you can read it with me. We'll go to the ask side of this. Okay. The International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance defines anti-Semitism as a certain perception of Jews which may be expressed as hatred toward Jews. Okay. Rhetorical and physical manifestations of anti-Semitism are directed towards Jewish or non-Jewish individuals and or their property, toward Jewish community institutions and religious facilities. With the word certain, that's questionable. What is wrong with it? Okay, let's see what it says. So the National Library of Medicine. What is wrong with the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism? They developed a working definition in 2016. Whilst the definition has received a significant amount of media attention, we are not aware of any comprehensive philosophical analysis. This article analyzes this definition. We conclude that the definition and its list of examples ought to be rejected. The urgency to do so stems from the fact that pro-Israel activists can and have mobilized the IRHA document for political goals unrelated to tackling anti-Semitism, notably to stigmatize and silence critics of the Israeli government. This causes widespread self-censorship, has an adverse impact on freedom of speech, and impedes action against the unjust treatment of Palestinians. Well, we also identify intrinsic problems. That's kind of left-coded, but yeah. We also identify intrinsic problems in the way the definition refers to criticism of Israel similar, quote, to that leveled against any other country, ambiguous wording about, quote, the power of Jews as a collective, lack of clarity as to the Jewish people's right to self-determination, and its denial of obvious racism. We consider alternative definitions and prefer one like the Oxford English Dictionary, which states very simply hostility to or prejudice against Jews. Yeah. Okay. Civil liberties advocates have repeatedly cautioned that the IRHA definition has been weaponized across the country to suppress lawful speech and activism. If you want to know who rules over you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize.
Targeting critics of Israel with harsh criminal penalties.
Okay, right there. Critics of
Israel.
Israel. Israel is not the Jews. Jews may not be white, but Israel is not the Jews. Israel is a political entity, in modern terms at least. It's a country, a nation, a state. It's not a people. You have to separate the legal entity from the people that make up that legal entity. And it's not just Jews living in Israel. There are Christians, Muslims, there's probably a couple of Buddhists. You know, might even be a few communists in Israel. It's beside the point. But the point is, criticizing Israel is not the same as being anti-Semitic.
With harsh...
For example, I can say that the Jews in medieval England were usurers, which is a historical fact or a historical opinion that can be verified one way or the other, but has nothing to do with modern Israel. By the same token, I could say, I don't like Jews, and it has nothing to do with Israel. Or I could flip it. I could say, I don't like Israel, And that has nothing to do with the Jews.
Criminal penalties, SB 87 takes away Ohioans' ability to speak publicly against some of the most horrendous violations of human rights.
Yeah, if, people have the right to have the opinion that Israel is engaging in a genocide in Gaza. They have the right to do that. Now, whether I believe that personally or not is beside the point. For the record, I don't. I personally think Gaza is experiencing an extreme example of FAFO, given that, the people who were ruling them conducted an attack that they probably shouldn't have done. Whether that attack was foreseen by Israeli security or not is beside the point as well. Yeah, there are no good guys. Something that was kicking around in my head while I was shoveling today. Innocence is wanting the good guys to win. Maturity is realizing there are no good guys.
We have seen since World War II that Ohioans will run the risk of being criminally charged, for example, publicly calling out an apartheid state, which was deemed so by the International Court of Justice. As Americans, we have always taken pride in having some of the most robust free speech protections codified in our First Amendment.
For the record, this guy's accent is striking me as somewhat Eastern European. So if anybody knows what it's like to live without free speech.
If bills like SB 87 are allowed to pass, one of the few bright spots of American rights will be severely undermined in order to silence criticism of a foreign government. Also, please understand, this will not stop here. One after another, all of our rights to engage in peaceful dissent can and will be taken away.
Yeah, I also want to point out, one of the reasons that you don't want to actually quash free speech in any direction is because you can't argue a bad idea that you never hear about. You can't disprove bad information that you don't get to hear about. You can't, for example, if someone says that pedophilia was common in ancient Greece, it may or may not have been. It's not really germane to the discussion at this point. But someone can say that, and if you then say pedophilia is wrong, then the people who are saying that, who are trying to support pedophilia by citing historical examples of it, if they then say, well, you shouldn't have the right to say that, and pass a law to say that you can't, then you're taking the people who are trying to stand up for children, telling them they're not allowed to speak publicly. So you're driving them underground, where they will continue to organize, because, I'm sorry, if you're attacking children, you deserve to be punished for it. And it's the same here. If you tell people they're not allowed to criticize someone publicly, they'll do it privately. It's not going to stop the criticism. The criticism will stop when either the reason for the criticism goes away, or the person doing the criticizing is shown that they're wrong to do it.
One needs only consider U.S. Representative...
You don't show... How does that George R.R. Martin quote go? When you tear out a man's tongue, you don't prove him wrong. You simply tell people you're afraid of what he might say. Something along those lines. Yeah.
Mike Lawler's failed House Resolution 867 of May 2025, which was proposing fines up to $1 million and up to 20 years imprisonment.
$1 million or 20 years in jail for speaking your mind.
For Americans
I thought they weren't Canadian.
Participating in boycotts of Israel. Such egregious assaults on our freedom will only become more commonplace and brazen. We must not forget that civil rights are not forever, but need to be constantly protected from...
Yeah, that tree of liberty is a thirsty bitch. Coming soon to Australian curriculum. Addressing anti-Semitism, lovely. This has to stop our country's occupied, land of the occupied. All laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Marbury versus Madison, 5th U.S. Circuit Court, maybe, 2 Cranch, 137, 174, 176, 1803. Yeah. Speaking of repugnant, and I do apologize for subjecting you to this comedy, from Basil the Great. We'll pause this right here. And it is via Karlin Borisenko. A trans so-called comedian has said they should kill children until they let them use whatever bathroom they wish to on stage. And it was received by applause.
I think we should start killing kids.
Oh, we're going to cut you off right there. Come to jail. Yeah, you might as well just turn yourself in right there. You just uttered a threat against children. You will be happier in jail than you would be on the street.
Until they let us use whatever bathroom they want.
How is this funny?
I think we should start killing kids until they let us use whatever bathroom they want.
Okay, Mr. Moore in address. No, go fuck yourself. If you ever said something like that to me and meant it seriously, I would slap them. Well, no, I'd probably actually consult with a police officer. I don't encourage violence. Hypothetically, if someone were to kick him in the balls, he'd realize very quickly he's not female. Fair. Ugh, this the same person? Day 30 of my transition might be. World population, 8 million... Yeah. A comedian on stage calling for violence against children. The crowd applauds. The room cheers. The silence afterward is louder than anything said. This is the same culture that exports lectures on human rights to the rest of the world. The same civilization that sets standards for others while its own stages burn with madness. They'll tell you it's comedy. They'll tell you it's freedom of speech. They'll tell you it's art. But when children, dead children, become punchlines and applause lines, the mask slips. And what's underneath is fucking horrendous. Speaking of slipping masks, let's talk about the anarcho-tyranny occurring in Mexico. Sorry, let me rephrase. Government-sponsored anarcho-tyranny. So from Right Angle News Network, breaking: Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, a very strong Latino name, says using force against cartels violates their civil rights. Let me run that by you again. She says using force against drug cartels violates their civil rights, and any talk of engaging in war, as in a drug war, with the cartels is a right-wing talking point fueled by fascism. So law and order now is fascism. Okay, then I'm a fascist. I'm certainly pro-fascism over whatever the fuck this is.
Regresar a la guerra contra el narco no es opción. No es opción. Primero, porque está fuera del marco de la ley.
Because it's outside the framework of the law. Bitch, you are the framework of the law in that country. You are the one who is supposed to be upholding the law. Is dealing drugs and, terrorizing citizens, is that part of the legally acceptable order in Mexico?
Todos estos de la derecha que se llenan la boca de las palabras Estado de Derecho y defienden la guerra contra el narco. Pues la guerra contra el narco está fuera de la ley, porque como lo dije o lo he dicho en varias ocasiones, es permiso para matar.
The drug war would be permission to kill without a trial. No, it wouldn't. Now, would there be extrajudicial killing of cartel members? Yeah, almost certainly, because these people are armed and will defend their livelihood violently against police. If you point a gun at a cop and you get shot, that's not killing without a trial. That's FAFO. That's fucking around and finding out. That is justifiable homicide and self-defense on the part of the cop.
Sin ningún juicio. Y eso en México nadie o muy poquitos están de acuerdo. Está fuera del marco de la ley. Y segundo, no sirvió de nada más que para aumentar los homicidios en México.
No, homicide is a criminal act. When a police officer shoots a cartel member in the execution of their duties, that's not a criminal act. Holy shit, the ACAB crowd actually rule Mexico. Amazing.
Y el nivel de violencia. Entonces, estos llamados autoritarios, porque son autoritarios, es ir hacia el fascismo.
Yeah, if the choice is anarcho-tyranny or authoritarian fascism, I'm gonna pick authoritarian fascism. You stupid cow. Sorry, vaca idiota, I think is the right word in Spanish. I may have that wrong. I know idiota is right. I'm not sure about vaca. Okay, from Alexandre Lavoie. I don't know if I made the right decision or the wrong decision. Yeah, we're talking about another trans. 35-year-old Michael Joseph Atwood, who identifies as Alice, stabbed his 7-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter in Grand Prairie, Alberta. The little girl's esophagus was severed, emergency surgery, and months on a feeding tube. He was charged with aggravated assault. Not even assault causing. Aggravated assault. Released on bail within days. Still free in 2026, living in a van painted with the words, "Every child matters." Posting online admitting he's unstable. Canada's catch and release bail system puts citizens at risk by letting a man who stabbed his own kids and questions if it was the right thing to do walk the streets. Yeah, he's uncertain if what he did was the right thing to do.
If I made the right decision.
I don't know if I made the right decision. You stabbed your own children. I have to avoid saying the thing I would like to say. Yep, absolutely. Anyone with some knowledge should have known how it would end. A crazy lunatic has an account on Facebook and TikTok, but yet is roaming around trying to deceive and brainwash the public. Should be locked up in a straitjacket. Yeah, we need to open the asylums again. This guy is begging for help. It won't end well. He needs to be locked up and deal with his mental health issues, if that is even possible with all the poison they push. Yeah. There's no point sending this guy to prison. He wouldn't be in for a rude awakening. He identifies as a woman. He would love prison. Especially a male's prison. Assuming he got sent to a male's prison. Can a government be sued for criminal negligence? God, don't I wish. Psychotic break. Yeah. Peace, love, and unicorns, yeah. Adding unicorns is kind of perfect for a trans maniac, yeah. Speaking of people who deserve to be hung by the feet until dead. And it's not just the 3 pictures you're about to see, it's also the judge. Sorry, no, not this case. So, from Table Salt, Mohammed Omar Al-Saleh, 21, Mustafa Abdu, 22, and Yusuf Al-Gabouri, 20, from Mississauga, have been charged with sexually trafficking girls aged 11 to 14 under threat of violence. And Table Salt points out if it was his daughter, they'd be a lampshade. Don't think I'd be doing that. The calculus is simple. Can you live with yourself if you do nothing versus 5 to 10 years in jail? Very unique decorative features, yeah. 4 people arrested. Why, Gary? Why? Yep. The government doesn't seem to realize or care that if they don't start deporting these people in short order, they are going to create conditions where vigilantism and street justice will become the norm. Yeah. Sorry about that. I just realized I hadn't turned off my music on my the window where I have the actual stream open. Sorry. I'm having a bit of a brain fart at the moment. But yeah, this is the sort of thing that's going to cause people to enact vigilante justice, which will of course result in the arrest of the wrong party. Yeah. Speaking of anarcho-tyranny, since we had it in Mexico, we might as well talk about it from California. Gavin Newsom, yeah, from Libs of TikTok. Just in, a Sacramento sheriff slams Gavin Newsom's, he calls them Newscum, it's Newsom, elderly parole program, which is allowing David Funston, a serial child rapist, to go free. David used candy and toys to lure children as young as 4 to be molested. A judge called him, quote, the monster parents fear the most. Thanks to Newsom, he will now be on the street again. And we'll listen to what this fella has to say.
I got a phone call from a retired sheriff sergeant who used to work child abuse back in 1995 about this case, David Allen Funston. He helped investigate it. He was angry because he read.
Let me see if I have the option to put captions on here. I don't. Okay.
He was being released. I had no idea about it. Read the LA Times article, saw what they had spoken, and got the wheels rolling. So yesterday, they printed out probably thousands of pages of arrest reports on Mr. Funston and the cases he did. And take us back to 1995. He was out preying on children.
Okay, I don't want to hear about what he did in the past. I just want to see what this guy's saying about now. So,
they're older males. Now we're seeing a lot of folks in their 20s and 30s. So under the law, and we have folks in their 20s that have pending cases right now, they can be out by the time they're 50, having done 20 years. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Someone has to speak up about it, and we've got to change this.
Okay, well, he's just speaking against Newsom's plan. I'm just as dumb as you black people. Yeah, that kind of blew back in his face, didn't it? I like this one. Meet the new scum. Same as the old scum. Yeah. Speaking of scum, let's talk about Canada's health, Carney's health minister. This is from, I believe, Riley Donovan. Carney's health minister defends giving asylum seekers supplementary health benefits. The health system is a compassionate system. They need to have access to care. Then they can fucking pay for it. Oh wait, they can't legally work in this country because they've had their asylum claim rejected. Now they're going to appeal for 20 fucking years before we can actually throw them out legally. Because our system is bent.
Will the Liberals support our motion and ensure that rejected asylum claimants do not get superior health care benefits to Canadians?
Whoa, hang on. No. Fuck you, conservative idiot. What do you mean, superior? They shouldn't get any. They've been rejected for asylum in this country. Why are we giving them any benefit of our fucking system? They should get none. The moment they're rejected, they should be told, you need to be out of this country in 24 hours. You can continue to appeal from another country.
Mr. Speaker, it's really unfortunate that we have this kind of conversation where we are talking of the health of Canadians and asylum seekers.
We're not talking about Canadians. We're talking about asylum seekers who were rejected.
The reality is those people are in the country and we have agreement. And our system, the health system is a compassionate system.
It's supposed to be compassionate for the people who put you in power, not for the people who can't.
So what we are saying is those people, they need to have access to health. And we are working closely with provinces and territories also to get more access to Canadian people.
They're both wrong. Neither of these women belong in politics. One of them is covering for the ass of the government. The other one is saying, why do they have better healthcare than Canadians do? When the question that should be asked is, why the fuck are they in the country in the first place? The rejected application is done. Get them out. They don't belong here. And when they're rejected, they're not forced to leave the country. They're not forced to pay for their health care. They're probably not even forced to pay for their own care, their own upkeep. So what happens is the burden on taxpayers rises. These people stay in the country, probably have children, potentially marry Canadians, which gets them citizenship immediately. Yeah, it's all such a wonderful thing. Is having 28,000 Canadian citizens per year die waiting for healthcare compassionate? That's the Resistance Coffee Company. Is providing foreigners with healthcare while our children suffer needlessly and die compassion? Truly, even the compassion of the wicked is cruel. Proverbs 12:10. Yeah. The Uniparty adopted UN Agenda 2030 for New World Order. Stop blaming one party or the other when neither have worked for Canada for decades. And again, I will point out, neither of these women, even though one is conservative, one is liberal, neither of them is asking the right fucking question. The right question being, why the fuck are these people still in the country after their asylum claim has been rejected? Let alone getting health care. This one's going to be briefly dealt with. From I am yes, you are no. How long? How long will we continue to live like this? Yeah. But, you know, we don't need to protect our women, right? The foreigners won't hurt them. Yeah, either we fight back or they'll kill us. We shall have no real hope to survive the enemies arranged against us until we hang the traitors lurking amongst us. Thomas Paine. Again I say, that tree of liberty is a thirsty bitch. Oh, speaking of thirsty bitches. Not really, but I just like calling AOC a bitch. Yeah, let's have a look at this. From James Woods, also a great follow on Twitter. Hi, James. I doubt you're watching. Doesn't she have handlers to stop drunk midnight shit posting? Well, see, you'd think so, but yeah. And listen to the tone of voice. Like, I think she's actually in her own house. At first, when I heard the whispering, I thought maybe she's in a public place, but...
You know, I've seen one or two questions about people complaining that the snow is still here from the last storm. And, like, what are people gonna do about it?
Fucking shovel it.
And I'm starting...
I'll point out as well, I'm reasonably sure New York City is not dealing with the level of snowfall that St. John's is currently. In the last week, St. John's has had over 100 centimeters of accumulated snowfall.
I wonder how many of you know how snow works and know about, like, at what temperature snow melts.
Okay, in vino veritas. She's wondering how many of you know how snow works. Who's she talking to? She's talking to people who follow her. And she's treating them like fucking morons. Yeah. Let's see, we've got a piece here from Daniel Tyree, I believe. I don't know if it's him that posted it or the Dominion Society. Jason Kenney is a traitor. Yeah, let's let Daniel
We've been
talk
getting
about
a
Jason
lot.
Kenney here.
We need to talk about Jason Kenney. Since my interview with Candace Malcolm on Juno News, we've been getting a lot of attention from establishment conservatives. Wyatt Claypool, Andrew Coyne, Garnet Jennis, and most aggressively from Jason Kenney. You might remember Kenney as the Premier of Alberta, where he rose to international prominence by shutting down churches, locking up pastors, before getting forced out of his own party and resigning in disgrace. Frankly, I'm proud to have the likes of Jason Kenney criticizing me. After all, he is one of the chief villains of modern Canadian history. Before Kenney was Premier of Alberta, he served in the cabinet of Stephen Harper. Most importantly, serving as the Minister of Citizenship, Immigration and Multiculturalism from 2008 to 2013. Or as many people called him at the time, the Minister of Curry in a Hurry. Now that public opinion is turned against mass immigration, Kenney is trying to reinvent himself as a spokesman for immigration restriction. But no one's buying it. You see, Kenney's record speaks for itself. When Jason Kenney was Canada's immigration minister, he didn't slow immigration down. In fact, he locked it in at record levels year over year. His immigration rates were even higher than the previous Liberal government. He massively expanded the temporary foreign worker program, turning it from an emergency tool into a permanent system for importing cheap labor.
I'll also point out that there was a poll released recently that suggested that the majority of Canadians, and again, polling in Canada, it's massive grain of salt, but it was suggesting that the majority of Canadians no longer believe fast food restaurants need the temporary foreign worker program.
Undercutting Canadian wages. Rates of TFWs doubled under Kenney and were expanded to fast food, retail, hospitality, warehousing, and cleaning services. He massively expanded the international student program while making more direct pathways to citizenship, enabling chain migration. He kept family reunification high and quietly expanded humanitarian admissions.
Okay. Chain immigration, for those of you who don't understand what that is, Canada has a system where if we accept someone from India, after a certain amount of time, and potentially not very much, they are able to apply to bring their extended family over. Their parents, their children, their spouse, etc. What value does it provide Canada to bring pensioners in? People who, the moment they land in Canada, are eligible for a pension at the same rate as people who've lived here their whole lives. Yeah.
Multiplying inflows far beyond what the public was told. And most importantly, under Kenney, Canada's main source countries shifted away from Europe and the United States towards India, China, and the Philippines, permanently reshaping the country's demographic future. Kenney tries to portray himself as an alternative to the status quo, but the reality is he built the foundation of the modern immigration system, the system that Justin Trudeau would crank to 11. Not only did Kenney enable radical demographic change, he fundamentally agrees with the modern dysfunctional multicultural state. In fact, he staked his entire career on leveraging it to his advantage, playing dress-up and pandering to ethnic minorities. He claims to oppose balkanization while actively fueling the divisive multiculturalism that makes it inevitable. Kenney admits that an open debate on immigration is necessary, while also calling for me to be deplatformed for my immigration stances. He positions himself as the radical flank of the debate. Anything beyond him is simply unacceptable.
Kenney is basically barely right of center. Barely. And that's if you assume the Overton window actually stands across the center. Daniel is really moderate right. He supports remigration, deportations, things like that. I don't think even he would agree with me that executions may be necessary for criminals. But everybody has the right to an opinion.
Thinks he can gatekeep people like me from the conversation. But the issue is, Kenney is fundamentally pro-immigration.
Yeah, we were not in any sense anti-immigrant.
How are we supposed to have a debate with no dissenting opinions? After a decade of Trudeau's radical policy, drastic changes are needed to save Canada. It's not enough to limit the conversation to deporting illegals and reducing intake numbers. The vast majority of the problem has been created through legal channels. This return to Harper mentality is just not sufficient. 2006 solutions are not relevant to 2026 problems. The Trudeau wave itself must be reversed. Kenney spent a week crashing out about me and the Dominion Society. He said I have a sickness of the soul. He accused me of breaking the law, and of course, he called me racist.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's left-coded as hell. To call you racist to shut down your discussion point. Yeah.
Let me be absolutely clear about this. I do not care. Labels and accusations like these will only become more common as we continue to grow and our ideas become more popular. It's about time that the Canadian people start to stand up for ourselves. Because of the actions of cowards like Jason Kenney, we are quickly losing our country.
Here's where I disagree with Daniel as well. I don't think we should be calling these people cowardly or incompetent in any way. They are evil and treasonous. It is better to treat them that way than it is to treat them as someone deserving of sympathetic correction.
Do not have time to be deterred by mean names. We do not care. We have work to do. They say my proposals are unrealistic, unfeasible, unconstitutional. I say, whatever is in the best interest of our people, our nation, is never impossible. We're not afraid of fake conservative gatekeepers like Jason Kenney. We will not be intimidated. We will not...
Also, I'm going to back up so we can laugh at Jason Kenney dancing some more.
Not afraid of fake conservative gatekeepers like Jason Kenney. We will not be intimidated. We will not stop. Long live Canada.
Amen. And that's coming from someone who considers himself not a Canadian. Yeah, I know. Immigration is an anti-white concept. It was always white erasure, treason against Canadian people. No, immigration itself isn't anti-white. I mean, in Canada, we could have immigration from Ireland. I've met Irish expats. We could have immigration from Scotland. Wales, sorry. I was trying to say Wales and started to say Welsh, and it ended up being Wells. Did it again. Wales. France. There's a French colony just off the coast, about an hour from here. Any European country is essentially acceptable as essentially white immigration. So, yeah. But, let's keep letting not just the foreigner, but the alien foreigner in. Oops. I think it's this one. No, that's wrong. Okay, I think I just lost a link. Okay, we're going to have to move on to a different story, and unfortunately I can't segue because I forget what this one's about. But it's from the Freds, so... Yeah, who would have thought Right Said Fred would end up being a political pundit 20, 30 years after their big hit was I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt?
I have no doubt that the strings for this in Rochdale were being pulled by the Home Secretary, by the Director of Public Prosecutions, who at that point was Keir Starmer. This was a joined up, deliberate and intentional insistence, not even an attempt because they succeeded, to conceal what was going on throughout the country. That is my absolute belief now. 100%. I have no...
Okay. So this is Maggie Oliver from the UK. Maggie is former GMP detective. That is the something Metropolitan Police. She's the founder of TMOF Charity, program consultant, drama 3 Girls, victims advocate, author, so she's involved with the grooming gang stuff. Labour, the party for grooming gangs. Yep. He knows. Also, I hesitate to believe this is a real image. It's very difficult for me to say it is, because it looks so very, very photoshopped. But if you know for certain it's not, please let me know. They hid the rape of the UK. Yes, they did. Maggie's been highlighting child grooming and trafficking for over 15 years as a detective on cases like Operation Augusta around 04-05, then becoming a prominent whistleblower after resigning of the Greater Manchester Police over the Rochdale scandal. Through her foundation, media work, and advocacy, she's tirelessly exposed failures and supported survivors ever since. True courage in action. Never thought I'd live to see the day when an alleged pedophile enabler governs this fine country. Something Canada beat you at, I guess. We still remember the whole me to we thing, too, Justin, by the way. I don't care if you might have knocked up Katy Perry. I suspect you just bought somebody else's baby. Yep, okay. Why is it always batons for the Brits? Batons, we would say on this side of the pond. But, regardless, from Starmer out, why is it always batons for the Brits, money for the Muslims? It's just not right. And we'll just give you a taste of this from here. So I'm not sure what exactly this protest is, but you can see that the lads on the left are draped in the various English flags, British flags, sorry.
Oh, is that a wax? Is that a hit? Wow, they are coming in. People are really getting serious. An old man there. Oh, he's playing there, isn't he? Get his number. Wow. Get his number. Get his number. Scumbag. Oh.
This little guy is far too eager to use his weapon. And what happens when people have had enough?
He is whacking him. He is whacking him.
This is what happens when people have had enough.
I got two.
Yeah, when people have had enough, the police are useless. The police are always outnumbered. And that's... Yeah, imagine if they put half this effort into investigating Parliament or the rape gangs. When enough numbers wake up, the police will need way more than batons. I miss old school policing. Yeah. Part of the problem. When the Muslims outnumber the police like that, they just let them through. Those weren't Muslims. Oh, I see. My apologies. Oh, I see. Who are... Yeah. Yeah, when the Muslims outnumber the cops just step out of the way. But they'll try and stop the whites. The natives. Yeah. What do we got here? Over an hour in already. From Mr. Obvious, who I thought I was following. A black excuse me. A black man named Alexander Lamar in Michigan ran over and killed a 3-year-old white girl. He then proceeded to shoot the parents with a shotgun, who were left in critical condition. He then proceeded to shoot a 72-year-old grandmother who came to help. She's in a coma. Not even local news is reporting the story. I think it's time we admit to the elephant in the room. It's practically open season on white people, and the media doesn't care. The media are paid not to give a shit. If a white man had targeted a black family, it would be national news. I wish I could express my true feelings on the matter, but as I am limited by terms of service, all I can say is that I'm sick of these racially targeted attacks, and something must be done about this socio-economic worldwide problem. Fuck the mainstream media.
Girl is. Hi, quick question for you. Do you know who this is? Do you know who this girl is? No? Well, let me fill you in. This is Alexander Lamar Banks Jr., and he was just arrested in Michigan after he targeted a white family with his car, running over the 3-year-old daughter, then getting out with a shotgun and shooting the parents. Harlow Smith, the 3-year-old daughter, was unfortunately killed in the attack. The parents are both in the hospital, and their condition has stabilized. And if that wasn't bad enough, 72-year-old Barbara heard a commotion outside, so she decided to go and investigate, and upon witnessing this horrific act, went to help the Smith family. Unfortunately for her, she happened to be in Alexander's field of view, and so she became his next victim. Barbara was beaten, bloodied, and concussed, suffering severe head trauma and even bleeding in her brain. She ended up needing emergency brain surgery, and as I record this video, the surgery was a success, but Barbara is unconscious. And the mainstream media won't touch this story with a 10-foot pole. There are reports coming out from residents in Michigan saying they're not even seeing it on their local news. And we all know the reason why. It's because this is the perpetrator, and these are his victims. We all know that if a deranged white man targeted a family because they were black, ran over their child, and then brutally assaulted all of the people in the vicinity, that this would be a national story for weeks to come.
Yep. You can talk about it, center whites and their well-being, and you can say everything necessary. These are anti-white hush crimes. When a crime doesn't align with the anti-white narrative, it's not reported on by the media. Whites should be outraged by this murder of a little white girl and attempted murder of her family, regardless of the race of the anti-white murderer. He should be put 6 feet under immediately after an excruciating and agonizing public death. I understand the urge to inflict damage. I take a different approach. This is a wild animal that needs to be put down for the sake of the community. Doesn't matter how quick it happens. Just has to happen. Brutal, hunting white people, and it just gets worse and worse. We'll probably get a lenient sentence on some insanity or low IQ plea. Yeah, recently we saw a fella who did something extremely egregious get a lesser sentence because of his low IQ, qualifying as a mental illness. If he is too stupid to be allowed, or if he's too stupid to understand why he's being punished, putting him in a mental hospital and releasing him when he recovers isn't possible. Put him down, move on. Or put him out of the country. Take your pick. If he's an illegal immigrant. Right? Put him in the one-way trebuchet. Speaking of people who deserve the one-way trebuchet, this is from the UK. Did you know it was Ramadan in the UK? In Germany. This Afghan Muslim does. And we'll pause this here. This Afghan Muslim in Germany heads into a supermarket during Ramadan and starts wrecking all the food to force the Germans to fast against their will. What should the German cops do with this savage? Well, first off, you should realize he's not doing it because it's Ramadan and he doesn't want people to eat in public. He's doing it because he just wants to attack white people. He wants to attack non-Muslims. Has nothing to do with Ramadan. He's doing this because he knows no one will stop him.
Nicht machen. Nicht.
Right? 4 or 5 men standing here just watching him. And he's been at this for a while. Why? Why are you letting him destroy your food and drive your grocery prices up? They have to replace this food because they have a certain number of orders or stock that they have to maintain, which means they have to now pay more money to have more food. Plus, they have to pay someone to clean that up. So your prices are going up. Yeah. Why are you talking to him? Stop talking, start swinging. Do something. And I think he was actually moving in to do something. But I imagine it wasn't anything terribly useful. Paperclip. Syria? Sarah for Trump. Oh my god, I fucking died laughing. The whole world needs to see this. Tehran University students hung a mouse doll as Khomeini. IRGC thugs lost their goddamn minds trying to rescue the damn thing. Wow. That's Iran, I guess. Is this our last story? It is. Okay, our last story today is this one. Also from the UK. Or from Europe, anyway. It's the UK. Why is the UK so damn retarded? Promoting the benefits of first cousin marriage. No, I'm not fucking kidding. Listen to this silly shit. The UK Health Service promotes cousin marriage. No, I'm not fucking kidding. It's because they don't want to offend the fucking immigrants who, you know, practice cousin marriage as a regular thing when the Christian church banned it over 1,000 years ago.
National Health Service says marriage and procreation between first cousins can be beneficial, and the risks have been, quote, exaggerated. New document.
Before we go on, I want you to look at the look on this woman's face. Just watch her micro expressions. I'll even mute it till we get to the point where where the story changes. There's nothing going on back here. It's all right here and right here. There's nothing back here. It's all just means nothing. She's not a thinking creature.
Exaggerated. New documents show that the NHS guidance to midwives states 15% of cousin couples have children that are affected by genetic conditions.
15% of
compared
what?
to just have children that are offense to midwives states 15% of cousin couples have children that are affected by genetic conditions.
15% of cousin couples. That's in the first connection between cousins.
Compared to just 3% of children born to unrelated parents.
So 15% the first time. What is that the second time? How much is that costing your holy NHS?
However, the guidelines then go on to describe the benefits of cousin marriages, saying
Oh, let's hear
it
those.
can provide financial and social security and generate collective social capital. Sickle cell.
There is something to be said for marriage and reproduction within your community. Not your family, within your community. It does, in fact, create exactly what she said, financial and social security. Because when your people reproduce and expand, there are more of your people, more people sharing your experience, more people with commonalities. So yes, within your people, your community, it's not a bad idea. Within your family, it's an atrocious idea.
Cell disease, cystic fibrosis, and muscular dystrophy are some of the genetic issues more common among the children of closely related parents.
So the benefits are ephemeral and not tied directly to the cousin marriage. Bear that in mind. But all the detriments are. All the detriments are absolutely caused by cousin marriage. Yeah. Yeah, so this is going to be the end of the recorded section. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you continue to have good days. And as always, rise and rise again until lambs become lions. You can find ways to support me in the ticker, the pinned comment, and the description. Other than that, I actually am going to rescind my proscription against subscriptions and rants on Rumble, because I have come to find out very recently that Rumble, in fact, is only taking 20%. I guess the 50% thing was a misunderstanding somewhere along the line. So if you would like to subscribe to me on Rumble, by all means do. If you are live with me at some point and would like to send a rant, by all means do. I will get 4/5 of it, which is more than I would get on YouTube. Either way, I hope you're having a good day, and I will see you guys. Well, tomorrow will be part 3 of Moonraker, I believe. Where is my desktop? The cover, part 3, yes. Okay, so tomorrow will be part 3 of Moonraker. That will be 9 o'clock Eastern Time, tomorrow night. Other than that, I won't see you guys until then. Now, shortly, I will be starting the gaming, but I will take my usual break before I do that. And I will stop the recording here. Bye, folks.